Hi, are you someone that is into gambling? Do you often find yourself buying lottery tickets? Do you find yourself getting lost in the casinos or betting on sport games? And more importantly, have you gone back even after taking a big loss? Well, just like drugs and alcohol, you can also develop an addiction to gambling. Much like consuming drugs and alcohol, there are many negative side effects that it has on a person. And today, we are discussing about the negative impacts of gambling addiction. This is important because gambling addiction is a prevalent issue in the United States with many forms such as the Las Vegas casinos, sports betting, horse racing, game rooms, and etc. Even though gambling has become such a normalized concept in today's society, many do not believe that it can become an addiction because there are no widespread information on it. However, with this knowledge being available, people can now use it to regulate themselves and be aware of the effects that it can have on their brain and body. Today, I'm using the information gathered from a professional who has a master's degree in psychology from Manoa and various other sources such as Science Daily and NCBI. So first off, we're gonna identify gambling addiction and its effects. So now that we know that gambling addiction is real and how serious it is, let's talk about what is gambling and the symptoms and how to identify it. So gambling is defined as putting something of value at risk on an outcome that is due to chance. Gambling has been increasingly popularized in the United States throughout the year through televised poker tournaments, Las Vegas attractions, fantasy sports, and internet gamblings. It comes in many forms such as casino games, sports betting, card playing, and lotteries. Gambling can range from recreational to pathological gambling. The first one is recreational, or also known as social. The majority of adults gamble on a social basis where it only lasts for a limited amount of time with a predetermined acceptable amount of loss. This type of gambling makes up about 80 to 85% of all gamblers. The second type of gambling is pathological gambling, also known as compulsive gambling or disordered gambling. It is characterized by a pattern of continued gambling despite physical, psychological, and social consequences that it has. The legalization of gambling in all states, with the exception of Hawaii and Utah, have made gambling one of the top entertainment industries in the country. American Gambling Association's reports that the casino industry generated approximately $72 billion annually. Gambling addiction, also known as pathological gambling, is a disorder that can have many consequences, such as gambling addiction activates the same brain neurological patterns such as drugs and alcohol addiction, as shown. Gambling addiction triggers the same brain areas such as drugs and alcohol cravings. Much like drugs and alcohol addiction, there are many symptoms. Some symptoms include, but are not limited to, tolerance, withdrawal, and the repeated inability to stop the behavior. Gambling can come in many forms such as casino games, sport betting, and lotteries. People who gamble often falls on the spectrum between social gambling and pathological gambling. Pathological gamblers often experience similar symptoms to alcohol and drug addictions. Long-term effects of pathological gambling on the mind and the body, such as altered neurological processes. Neuroimaging works have shown that the brain regions such as the anterior cingulate, the orbitofrontal cortex, and the midbrain reward circuitry that are often involved with pathological gambling are also involved in substance abuse disorders. Studies on the neurological effects of pathological gambling has also shown that there are alterations in the dopamine serotonin, and norepinephrine levels of the brain. This is thought to link to changes in individuals' response to reward, impulsivity, learning, and self-control. Not only does a gambling addiction have many negative impacts on a person mentally, but also physiologically. Pathological gamblers are more prone to many stress-related diseases such as hypertension, sleep deprivation, cardiovascular diseases, and peptic ulcer disease. Between 1992 and 1986, there had been a reported 398 deaths that occurred inside of a casino. Of those deaths, 330 were cardiac related. This is often caused by the lack of sleep from prolonged hours of gambling, lack of food, and elevated stress levels. In conclusion, gambling can often lead to a serious problem once it becomes an addiction. This can be, but not limited to, mental and physical health issues. As gambling becomes more popular and widely accepted in the United States, many people are unaware of how dangerous gambling addiction can be. By sharing this information to the public, I hope to educate those around me on the detrimental effects of gambling that can have on an individual so they can make an informed decision about the next time they gamble. Thank you.